we should be interested in renewable energy because that's where the future lies.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is you are watching from. Welcome to YAFcast. I am Orish Mary, your host. As promised, we are bringing to you more information on the renewable energy. And today we are going to be talking on the challenges and opportunities in expanding renewable energy precisely in Cameroon. Today we have with us Mr. Wilsman Gaffison. He is a jurist and an energy economist. He is a policy and a regulatory framework advisor, energy sector, and is a sub-director at the Electricity Sector Regulatory Agency, that is ourselves. Welcome, Mr. Bilsman Gaffison. Can you briefly introduce yourself to the audience and tell us more about you?
Thank you very much for inviting me to your program. As you rightly said, my name is Wilsman Tanwa. I'm framework policy advisor for the energy sector, an energy economist and a jurist as well. So I'm sub-director for ARCEL and I've been uh, working as a regulator for close to 15 years.
Okay, so how long have you been working for Axel or with Axel?
With Axel, actually, I've worked with Axel for close to 15 years, as you just said.
15 years. So, Mr. Wilsman, what are your passions as an climate activist that you are?
Actually, I'm so passionate about climate change, climate transition.
Yeah.
Talking about climate change, you can't talk about climate change without talking about renewable energy, which is today something we advocate.
Yeah.
So, in fact, it's renewable energy is something which has come to stay,
Yeah.
and we as individuals we are in support of the transition.
Oh, that's very important. So, Mr. Wilsman, how can renewable energy contribute to climate resilience and adaptation efforts, in your opinion?
Exactly. When we talk about climate change, we we understand that renewable energy must have an impact
Mm-hmm.
on the climate change and resilience.
Yeah.
Actually, when we renewable energy sources, as we can define them, are those undepleted source of energy generation
Yeah.
that comes from some natural sources like uh, uh, from from the solar radiation,
Mm-hmm.
a small hydro. We have biomass, we have tidal waves, and more other stuff I will not want to cite here. So now, these renewable energy sources, they produce little or no gas emission. And when we talk about gas emission here, we're talking carbon monoxide, which is one of those gases that will deplete the ozone layer and now causes what we call global warming. And when we look at the international conference on the global warming that
Yeah.
took place in Paris, you see that Cameroon took a commitment that they will promote renewable energy to the tune of 25% before 2030.
Oh.
And that commitment is what the government have been trying now to implement and to encourage the promotion of renewable energy within our own context, that's Cameroon. So when you look at the 2011 law on energy, we realize that the government has granted some facilities to those who are involved in the promotion of renewable energy.
Okay.
And here we're talking about tax and custom duty exoneration. So you see that government is playing a very big role to encourage people to come in and to make sure that renewable energy takes its place
Mm-hmm.
within our own context. And again, you see that the renewable energy promoters are also encouraged
Mhm.
to develop this project because they have been given the facility to easily connect to the grid, because that is one of the conditions for those who are coming in as investors. If they don't have this guarantee that they will be connected to the national grid, then it will be difficult for them to actually uh, come in now and promote this sector. So I think on the side of government, that is what they are doing.
Okay, that's very important. And you used a keyword that I would really like to reiterate on. You said the undepleted sources. So that is very important to take note of when you're using your electricity. Is a depleted source.
Yeah.
So and he used the word undepleted source. And so, Mr. Wilsman, what do you think are the challenges that are hindering the widespread and adoption of renewable energy technologies in Cameroon? As you mentioned, Cameroon is actually looking forward to adopting renewable energy, and they already have things put in place to ensure that
Yeah.
renewable energy is no longer just about words, but it's about actions.
Exactly. When we talk about renewable energy, in fact, we should be thinking about the having the technology to develop this source of energy.
Right.
And I think today we should be talking about whether in our curriculum
Mm-hmm.
we have uh, these kind of programs being implemented in our educational systems.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's a technology which we are still trying to adopt and
Yeah.
to understand, I think it will be very important for the stakeholders to lay more emphasis
Mm-hmm.
on development and research. And
Okay.
that's why in our schools we should be able to lay more emphasis on these technologies
Yeah,
so
lay the
that
foundation from the base.
exactly. And secondly, because what we have experienced is that most people who really want to develop renewable energy sources do not have the mastery, the technological mastery, and it becomes a very big problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I think research and development is a key issue which have to be taken into consideration here.
Okay, you've already gone further to answer the question I was about to ask you on how the private sector can collaborate to overcome the challenges, and you've already mentioned the key issues that they can do. So, are there any policies or frameworks to support the scaling up of renewable energy projects in Cameroon? Because I attended a conference sometime early this year at the Palais de Congrès. Yeah, so they called it Salon International sur les énergies renouvelables. And while they were talking, I didn't get to hear the part where they mentioned any frameworks available in Cameroon for the adoption of renewable energy. So, are there any frameworks at all?
That's a very pertinent question because we cannot be talking about promoting renewable energy without having a legal and regulatory framework
Yeah.
which will govern how this have to be done. In fact, in Cameroon, we have a law on the electricity sector, that is 2011 law.
Mhm.
And that law states that they have to put in place a framework for renewable energy in Cameroon.
Yeah.
And the law further states that there have to be a degree of application on renewable energy.
Yeah.
So when we look at the advancement of the renewable energy sector in Cameroon today, those things have not been put in place. So for people or operators or
Mhm.
business people who are coming to Cameroon to develop renewable energy projects, they find it very difficult to implement. Because first of all, we cannot talk about energy without talking about the tariffs. So you realize in Cameroon we don't really have what we call an optimal tariff for the renewable energy sector. And
Okay.
once all of those have been put in place, then the promoters will be comfortable knowing that there's a conducive legal and regulatory framework on which they can base to develop their projects.
Okay. Okay, I think that's going to be like a way forward if we really want to adopt renewable energy.
So,
So is there like a usually in Cameroon we always have situations where people complain that they pay more than the consumer in terms of electricity. So is there like a system or policy that ensures that consumers actually pay a fair price for the electricity they have consumed at the end of the month? Is there anything like that?
Yes, in Cameroon, there is the electricity tariffs, which is set by the regulator,
Yeah.
and this tariff is actually regulated, based on the cost of service,
Mm-hmm.
which means that this tariff is determined based on the quality of service which the operator has to provide, and the regulator adopts these or approves these tariffs every year in collaboration with the main concession, which is in you. So uh, actually, I want to say yes, they pay a fair price,
Okay.
and at some point, the government is even subsidizing the price of electricity. Because when
Oh.
you look at some level, for those who we consider as low consumers,
Mm-hmm.
who consume between like 0 to 110 kilowatts of hour of electricity, they pay like 50 francs per kilowatt hour. And when you go a little bit above that, you pay more. So it's a way government is trying to help those who are less privileged to subsidize the energy consumption.
Okay. Looking at Cameroon's what is that word? I want to say looking at Cameroon's infrastructure and the I don't want to say economic background and everything. Looking at Cameroon structure, do you think that we can produce using our renewable energy source? We can produce the amount of electricity that we will be able to use in our country and maybe sell to neighboring countries, and just in order to bring influence to our country to help us develop better than we already are today.
Yes, exactly. Our law makes provision so that we can,
Okay.
if we produce excess energy than we can consume, we can sell part of the energy to any country. And today, I want to make you understand that Cameroon is in partnership with Chad to build a high voltage transmission line
Mhm.
from Marwa to Jamena.
Mhm.
So at least that is already in the project, and it's important because I think the future is bright for Cameroon, given that we have a lot of infrastructure, energy infrastructures that are being built to step up
Okay.
the capacity of energy that we are producing. So I think Cameroon can, in the near future, if they have excess energy to sell to other countries within our sub-region.
Okay. I know that um, we use hydro electricity in Cameroon.
Yes.
So have there been any instances where there was successful implementation of maybe wind turbines, geothermal energy, solar panel farms? Do you have success stories like that in Cameroon?
Exactly, because talking about small hydro is energy that is generated below 5 megawatts as
Mhm.
provided by the 2011 law, which means that any energy capacity which is produced above 5 megawatts is no longer considered as renewable energy in terms of hydro generation. So, talking about some examples, we have like in Bakau, that's in the
Macau.
yes, Bakau, that's in the Adamawa region,
Mhm.
around Tibati, where we have a small hydro generation facility that is producing about 1.4 megawatts of energy, of electricity and supplying to the neighboring villages around Tibati. So that's one example. We also have small solar schemes which are being developed somewhere in Central Province around Mvondo, which is also generating electricity. You understand with me that Mvondo is an agricultural pool where cocoa production is very high,
Mhm.
and there is the need for the villagers to have electricity to be able to go about their income generating activities. So there is a smallholder scheme which has developed a project around there, which is working. And in Sabongari as well, there is another small developer which has done something, and people are having solar panels and providing them with electricity in that locality. So
Okay.
those are some few examples I can give. But there are many more examples, like
Just to name
even
a few.
in Marwa,
Mm-hmm.
Gide, it's a project which is a large scale solar generation facility of about 15 megawatts, which is developed by some private partner. So you can see from those examples that we are experiencing the transition and the deployment of renewable energy in Cameroon.
News Cameroon is actually doing something,
Yes.
even though we don't really get much information about it. Maybe the news media is not doing justice when it comes to reporting on what Cameroon is doing in adopting renewable energy.
Exactly.
So, in these communities where these projects have been implemented, where the local communities actually involved in these activities, because it's very important. If it's happening in their local community, I
Mhm.
think they should be actually very involved in it. So were they actually
Of
involved?
course, yes. You know, when you have to follow the rules of project development,
Yeah.
there is this aspect of associating the local community to the project.
Mm-hmm.
So we have what we call the socio-economic the impact, which or studies which are being done, to involve the local communities. I would like to testify that these communities are involved because normally when the project comes to your area, and they have to do what they call a market study to be sure that the population are there to the project and to be sure that they'll be ready to buy the energy which you want to generate, and they are ready to buy at the price that you are fixing for them.
Yeah.
Because of course they need the energy for their activities. So at times they go in for the project because of the need of electricity in the locality.
But if we are implementing this project in local communities, is the electricity not supposed to be free? Because we actually go there because these people cannot afford to pay electricity bills. So if we go there and we tell them we implement in their locality, why should we have to tell them to buy electricity?
You first of all want to understand that these projects are brought in by business people.
Business
It's not the
people.
government. And even if it were to be the government, you pay a price, at least a minimum price for what for the service that the government is giving you, for example. Because normally there is that infrastructure, there's an investment in the infrastructure. What we call the generation plant, the transmission line, and the distribution. So now, the individual who is investing his money will want to be remunerated for his investment.
Mhm.
Will not just invest and give it for free. So that's the
No,
first thing.
no, but I don't know international NGOs that ensure or international NGOs we can call to fund these projects.
Yes,
Because I think there are organizations like
I
that.
think if they do the funding, it's not for free. It's what they are what we call concessional loans. If these loans are given, it means it could either be like to for the funds either to be refunded, for the loans to be refunded,
Oh,
or if the investor goes to any commercial banks to or receive a loan, this loan have to be reimbursed. So
I
that's the first
see.
thing.
Makes sense
And
now.
the second thing is that most of these localities are off grid. It means that the main concessionaire, which is a new, does not have its transmission lines passing through that area.
Okay.
And that said, those localities cannot benefit from the lights which are produced by a new, for example. So that is why we talk about off-grid projects, which are the ones we are talking about, the solar projects which are within localities that are off-grid. In point here.
I
So
see.
the law has given opportunity for business people or anybody who want to invest in the sector to go within a community and does its studies and now can now obtain a license to generate electricity and distribute within that locality for a price. So that's how it goes.
Yeah, the keyword is for a price.
Yes, for a
But
price.
I still think that, so Mr. Wilsman, let me ask you, if you had the opportunity to maybe send a message to international communities, the global north, because I think this money they are giving us falls under adaptation finance, right? So the money shouldn't have to come in form of loans. It's supposed to come in form of grants, which means that we don't have to refund them the money, because I think this is where the issue comes in. And maybe we are falling short and people are not even seeing progress because they still pay for it. Whether it's renewable or it's not renewable, they are still paying for it. So if you had a message for the global north, what would you tell them?
In fact, it's just that this already makes me to understand that many people do not understand how to finance their projects.
Yeah.
Because if people had the knowledge, as you are saying, then many people go in for it. It's like I have the impression from from what you're saying that Global North is allocating some funding for such projects, and those who are involved in those projects don't know that we have funds for those projects. So I think it's high time we 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 inform them about these loans, this facility. It's high time we organize seminars to talk to them that this we have facilities in terms of funding
Yeah.
which they can have access to. If not, nobody will be informed. So I think
Exactly.
we need seminars to
Exactly.
inform.
And that's why I think that's maybe why Cameroon organized the Salon International Suez.
Yes.
Yes, and many people didn't even attend. I don't
Yes.
and which boils down to what I was saying, the media is not doing justice to the government by telling the community about this what the government is doing. So I think the our national media, they have to step up in reporting on these issues. And I think that I've seen these small solar lamps.
Yes, yes,
People buy them and they install them in their homes. They
exactly.
are very small, just taps electricity, and exactly 6:30 in
Exactly.
the evening, it comes on. At 6:30 in the morning, it goes off. These are small, small lamps that people can actually afford in their homes. It doesn't even have to cost that much. And then I went to one locality, Sumalomo, and I saw solar panels being installed there. I think it was done by the government.
Yes.
So this locality, they don't have electricity at all. I don't know why, but the government ensured to install solar panels there. So it taps energy during the day, and at night the streets are deleted. Yes, and the community are able to go about their activities at night without fear of anything, which is very good. And I applaud the government for that initiative. So, any last words you would like to add to the viewers?
Before I get to the last word, I just want to say that for the commercial banks which we have within our community, at times they find it difficulties to grant loans to those promoters because first of all they don't master the risk that is involved in, in, uh, projects that has to do with renewable energy. Because there are no guarantees. One of the major problems we've been having is that of providing government sovereign guarantees to promoters, which is an exigency of lending partners. And that has been a major challenge as well. So, talking about what would be my last word is to say that
So, no, no, let's hold on with the last words. You've just reminded me of something. You said there were successful projects in the north, and it just brought my mind to something because when we had the heat wave going on,
yes,
I heard that people in the north they were sleeping outside. They prefer to sleep in the openness of mosquitoes rather than sleeping in their houses and coping with the heat and everything and
Yeah.
everything. So is it that the projects that were being implemented there, they're not, is it that the electricity being generated is not enough to power homes? Or what is the issue?
no, I think that one does not. It might not be really linked to that, but now we're talking about what we call global warming in this case, because that's an impact of global warming.
No, but I felt like maybe they were sleeping outside because the electricity, or how do I call
Yes.
it? The electricity wasn't enough to power their fans. Or
Actually, okay, what about those who do not even have fans in their homes or do not have the means to buy fans? But what you should understand is that in the northern region, during the moments where the temperature rises above 45 degrees and it's extremely hot,
yeah,
I also think that even with the fans, it will not help issues,
okay,
or maybe air conditions, and that's why many people sleep outside. For those who can afford air conditions, maybe they have it's an opportunity. They can have conditioned air in their homes. But the majority those who do not have the means to
Okay.
provide for those things.
Mhm.
And the one thing I want to say is how will the deployment of renewable energy impact global warming? That is what we should be talking about now. Because, uh, you know, talking about the conference on global warming, it states that they have to reduce the global warming to a minimum of 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius.
Mhm.
So for countries who are actually adopting the 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 the, the action plan
Mhm.
for global warming, like Cameroon is doing, and with a target of 24% by 25% by 2035,
Yeah.
you see that Cameroon will have played its own role to reduce global warming. So I want to believe that the impact of global warming is being felt mostly in the northern region because of the fact that the, 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 the ozone layer has already been affected,
Mhm.
and the heat waves is having a toll
Yeah.
on that in that area.
And the sun is
And we cannot be
directly.
talking about the north because even down south, sometimes we have the impact of
Yeah,
global
we did
warming.
feel the history.
But so I think given that you understand that there's a correlation between the renewable energy deployment and global warming.
Exactly. And I really do get your point, because if we are transitioning and trying to prevent global warming and everything, even though I think that our efforts in sub-Saharan Africa is not, I don't want to say they are useless, but we are really doing a lot. We are trying.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you want to look at it, we are really trying.
exactly.
Considering the fact that we don't even know how global warming started, because we are not even developed yet. That means that if you want to develop, what is going to happen?
I think I read somewhere somebody was saying that Africa missed during the industrial
Revolution.
and that
Yes.
is the time Africa would have been developed.
Mhm.
But now we are coming in very late, and Western countries they're imposing certain policies upon
Of
us.
course.
Does that mean we will stay behind and will not be developed? That is the question. So Africa should take the bull by the horn
Mhm.
and impose our own development
Exactly.
and see how far we can go. Because there's what we call carbon trading.
Mhm.
Carbon trading is is a system where for developed countries who produce high carbon emission, they can trade,
Yeah.
their carbon emission with countries that produce lesser
Emission.
carbon emission.
Mhm.
And there's what they call financial compensation. So when that is done, the developed countries who produce high carbon emission now, they buy from the less developed countries or less industrialized countries. So
Yeah.
that's what they call carbon trading.
Yeah, but those are false solutions, because even when they buy our carbon,
Yes.
whatever, they don't stop polluting. The reason why they're
Yes.
doing that is because they want to keep polluting, and they want
Yes.
us to reduce our pollution. Meanwhile,
So now it's for us to take a decision, a radical decision. Because if we keep on trading in carbon,
yeah,
it means we will not be developed. So
we'll
what,
never,
what
we'll
we
never
should do is
develop.
that we should instead uh, 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 give ourselves, we should privilege
Yeah.
our development,
Yes.
our industrial development
Mhm.
than trading in carbon. If not, we'll keep on buying carbon and we'll stay behind.
Exactly.
So I think that's the approach. So it's as I said earlier, we should take the bull by the horn and develop our industries, produce or emit
Yes, if necessary.
as much carbon as we can
Of course.
to the limit of that is the quota which we
Yes.
have been given,
Yes.
and then we have our industries, we employ, and now we can now be the one to trade in the carbon with other
Yeah.
countries that have low emissions.
Exactly.
So that's how we should go. We should
Exactly.
not just be trading with them when we have the possibility of developing our own industries and creating employment for our own people.
Yeah, I think Cameroon no longer falls under the least developing countries. We are now among the developing countries. Yeah, the
That-
discussion is really becoming intense and very
yes.
interesting, but we've got to end it here for today. But Mr. Wilsman, I want to thank you very much for taking up of time from your busy schedule to come and join us on this platform. And we are really hoping that someday, some other time, we are going to call you back because you seem to be very versed with the field and you have a lot of knowledge that you wish to share with the general public and with the youth at large. So thank you very much, Mr. Wilsman, for coming. And yeah, so this is the time for you to give your last word to the youth.
The pleasure is all mine.
Yeah.
It's a privilege that you invited me to this program. The last word I want to say is that we should be interested in renewable energy
Mhm,
because that's where the future lies. And uh, knowing that the renewable energy have a greater impact
mhm.
on the global warming,
Yeah.
if we don't start today, it means uh, we will not have the earth will be a very uncomfortable place for us to live in. So I want to implore and ask the youths and the government to take all possible measures to build a legal and regulatory framework which will permit us or which will permit promoters to develop projects in the renewable energy sector.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wilsman. Thank you very much. And for you viewers watching this, I would like to ask you, you are sitting in your house, you are sitting in your office, you are sitting in your car driving. What is it that you are doing to ensure that your government adopts renewable energy? What exactly are you doing? The future of your country, the future of Africa lies in our hands. So let's get up, let's stop sleeping and ensure that we actually develop as a nation, as a continent. Thank you very much. And please make sure you subscribe to our channel. Do not forget to like, share, comment. If you have any topic you want us to talk about in the next podcast, feel free to tell us, comment, and we're going to see it and we're going to get back to you. Thank you very much, dear viewers, and see you next time.